computer. I think does it say recording? I think I'm right.
Okay.
Does it say recording on your screen?
No.
Okay, it is recording. It says pause or stop. So I apologize in advance for all of the noise that's going to be on here with
That's okay.
their trudging upstairs. Okay,
I have
so
a no pour going on outside of my room, so.
Okay, so I just pulled your student services report. I pulled it on Sunday because typically to start my week, I will pull every school student services report. And then I kind of just go through, because I do it in mass, like I have all the schools together, and so I just go through it and have it on parent declined, all the discharged, whatever. So you can kind of ignore that. To get your timeline though, you're gonna filter the top row, and you're gonna take out, you're gonna take out evaluation and other. So you wanna select those, and then I just copy, and then, okay, so I copy it, and then I'm gonna put it on here because I mean, you still want them. So you can see them, but they don't count towards your timeline. So then I'm gonna delete them here because I already have them saved over here. And then I'm gonna come back over here and select all. So these are all of the services that are gonna show up on your timeline. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unfilter. I'm gonna go to first build, and I'm gonna sort from A to Z, and that puts your dates from oldest to newest for first build. I'm gonna freeze the top row so I can see the begin date, the end date. So then I'm gonna insert 2 columns right next to it. So I'm gonna copy. I had unfiltered it because if I left it filtered, it wouldn't have copied the whole thing. So I'm gonna copy this row. I'm gonna put it over here, right?
Yep.
And then I'm just gonna label this timeline days. So you're gonna have 2 first build direct columns, and I'm gonna show you why in a minute.
Okay.
So then I'm gonna scroll all the way down until they end, right? So this is my second first build column. I'm gonna copy the end dates of the line as far down as it goes. And I'm gonna move it over here to my first build, the second first build column. Okay. And then I'm gonna highlight these yellow because these are the ones that didn't have a first build date.
Okay.
But I put these dates in here just for the formula.
Okay.
Okay. So then from there, I'm gonna come back up here and I'm gonna filter. I'm gonna go to the second first build column. And I'm gonna filter newest to oldest because I'm gonna do today's date.
Okay.
Because it's, so your timeline runs from the start date of the service to either the first build date or the end date of the service line or today's date, whichever one's first. So because these lines don't end until, after today's date, I'm gonna end them as today's date. Okay, so then you want to copy the series because it won't, it'll give you like dates in succession.
It'll go
so
up
like,
a date.
So then copy all the cells. Okay, so from here, in your timeline days, you want to have the begin date available and the first build date available. So the formula for this is going to be equals, and then network days, if I could spell, network days, and then parenthesis, begin date, comma, first build date. So you see why we had to put the end dates or the first build dates in there?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been able to get the formula without that.
Okay.
So then you just drag the formula down for the whole thing.
Okay.
And then I like to, I don't want that filled. And then from what I do there is then I kind of minimize this so you don't really see it, because now you can see which of your lines. So like, I don't know why that did that, but then I filtered highest or largest to smallest, largest to smallest. So you can see that this line is hitting your timeline 165 days, and there's no first bill date for that.
Okay.
It's still hitting the CPR. So you've only had no show in most recent bill dates. The kiddo's not marked non-compliant. So you can kind of go through then and see which ones are really hitting your timeline hard. Like, this is a non-compliant student. Green are non-compliant. Gray are parent declined or discharged services. So this parent didn't decline. I don't know what day they didn't decline it, but it was.
Okay, so find out what day they declined it and put that as the end date, see if it'll shorten that. Okay.
Yeah. So so you can kind of go through, okay, so K-12 lines don't hit your timeline at all either. So I'm just going to delete those because they don't hit your timeline. You can actually take them out if you want, but
okay,
I just deleted them.
So if they're non-compliant, they are hitting the timeline or they're not?
They are.
Okay.
Yep. The only ones that don't hit your timeline are evaluations and those other services
like case management.
Yeah, like case management or consultations. Equipment lines don't, K-12 lines don't hit your timeline. So this is just one tool. Like, so all of your withdrawn students, if they had a regular service, they would still hit your timeline. But I'm not so worried about the withdrawn students right now because there's nothing you could do about them. They're already withdrawn. So just for your own knowledge, like this is saying your timeline should be 24 days. I believe it might be 24, it might be 23, but that's because it's going to be different from what's here, or could be different from what's here based on your withdrawn students.
Okay.
But this is just one tool for you to be able to kind of go through and say, let me just completely hide this because that colors are tripping me up. There you go. Okay, so, but this is a good way for you to go through and be like, oh, this one has no first bill date. Why don't they have a service? You know, oh, they're turned off on my cost prediction report. So they're probably stuck at this date forever and ever and ever and ever. You know what I mean? These non-compliant kiddos, they're probably going to continue to hurt your timeline until you get that first scheduled date. Parent declined services and discharged services, just go back and make sure that the day the parent declined the service is the actual end date of the line.
Okay.
The day the student was discharged from service is the actual end date of the line. And for these that you don't have first bill dates, like you literally have nothing for this kiddo and in-home counseling needed. There's nothing. There's no first scheduled, no first billed, no no-show billing, no recent billing, no indirect billing. There's nothing for this kiddo. So that would be one of the ones that I follow up on. This one too, I would follow up on this one because it says the first scheduled date's 9/18 and there's nothing that has been billed for that kiddo.
Okay. Are those on the CPR?
Yep. Yeah, so another thing you could do is you could take out the CPR ones. You could filter for no. So sometimes I'll do this. I'll filter for the ones with CPR, with no CPR, and I'll look at them. You know, and I'll just make sure.
Easier to view that way.
Yeah, I'll just make sure, okay, yeah, the line is ended. There's been a new service line. CPR night changed service to consult only, and I would just make sure that your dates are correct. But really, a lot of these you're not going to be able to do anything with. Like most of them don't have first bill dates at all, but some of them are hitting pretty hard. So like this parent decline, just make sure that the day they decline the service is the day. Like same for discharged.
Okay.
And make sure all of these services are actually ended. Like this one's not even ended, but it's turned off of your CPR.
Okay.
So it's still going to hit your timeline. It's hitting right now at 42, but every day it's going to hit your timeline harder.
Okay.
Because it's not even turned off. So you go newest to oldest. Like this one's still turned on, but all of these are turned off, which is good. But this is another way to check it. Like it would be continuing on your timeline every single day that you didn't turn this off.
Okay.
And then you can filter so it only shows the services that are on your CPR. And that's another good thing to look at too, is just saying, okay, all of these, they don't have first bill dates. Some of these have multiple no-show billing, but they're not marked non-compliant. So these are some good things to follow up on. The ones that have a first bill date, that's going to stop your timeline for this line, and there's not going to be anything that you can do like for these.
And
you can't do
that's like
anything.
It just auto calculates that first bill date once there's billing submitted.
The timeline, yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, the timeline is from the begin date to the first bill date, or the begin date to the end date, or the begin date to today's date. So like for this line here, let's just pretend that it did not have a first bill date. It would calculate from the begin date to today's date, because today's date is before the end date of the line.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it just, RSM just automatically calculates it based on like these formulas.
Okay.
So these are stuck. Your timeline's stuck at these days. This one's stuck, but these you could do something about if you can get first bill dates for them.
Okay.
Non-compliant usually really hurts your timeline. If you can't get the line ended and move to consultation, it'll continue to hurt your timeline.
Okay.
So I'm going to save this. I'll send this to you. But so if you go in here and you click on, any one of these, it'll give you the formula, but you just have to remember that you need something in the first build column, which is why we added that second first build column, and then we hid it, because I didn't, a lot of times before when I was running the timeline, people would be like, but no, it has a first build. You're saying that there's a lot of missing first build, but there are first builds. So they weren't understanding that I have to put a number in there to get the formula. So then I created the second one, and then I would hide it.
Okay.
So like I did with you, I just hid it. I mean, you can open it back up again if you wanted to kind of see what I did.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's that. So do you have any questions with this?
No, just no-shows. There's nothing that can be done with those no-shows, right? Because I see, like, what column is that? The one where it says 926 in the first no-show.
This one?
Yeah. And the most recent billing that we have is 129. So like they're billing the students just no-showing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're going to probably need to be marked non-compliant and then have Jen follow up with them. Like, you're probably not going to do any of the non-compliant follow-ups while Jen's out, but you can just get them marked non-compliant so that they're on her tracker. I don't know if you have access to her tracker to add them, or just keep a running list of who you mark non-compliant, but that would be a student that I would probably mark non-compliant because they have multiple. I mean, you can pull the invoice reports for the student and then say 3 no-shows in a row. Let's see if it's monthly. Yeah, 3 times a month. So if they missed, if they've missed everything since September, they should have been marked non-compliant a long time ago. Okay. I don't know if Jen's reached out to them. Like, sometimes she'll reach out to people and the parents will say, no, we'll start coming back. So then she remarks them compliant, and then they continue to no-show.
Okay, let me see. I have access to her tracker.